Hmm. 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me? Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Let's see what's going on here. TJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, bro.
Okay, cool. Perfect. Cool. So we're going to wait a little bit. I have some other people who registered. I don't know where they are right now, but we're just going to hold tight for probably another 5 or so minutes. So you do your drive, you enjoy yourself.
All right, man.
All right, cool. On one session, that's pretty awesome. Let's see what's going on here. Interesting. All right. It's fine. Thank you. All right. All right. Looks like it's just going to be you and I, TJ. So the way so I have normal coaching clients every, I don't know, every day. And so they're typically not on these calls, but what's going on is I'm trying to transition towards group coaching, and because it's just the amount of time it takes to take on one-on-one clients it's pretty taxing. It's exhausting actually. But so I'm trying to work out group coaching. so that's why I do these once a month. It allows people who do want to work with me who can't afford it to have that opportunity to just get poured into. And it also teaches me the skills of managing a group and all that type of stuff. So it's kind of that win-win situation. But that said, nobody else is here right now, so it's all you, man. You're getting the goods. So
hey man, I'll take it.
good, very good, man. So to start out, so typically I have a lesson from the previous one and I have them run out and go get it. Today I wanted to try something different and ask you, where are you at, and what is it that you believe that you would love to see a shift or a transformation in?
I think I'm yeah, you can hear me?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm in right now I'm in a weird place of just like surviving. Like just every day, everything is just based on surviving. So that's kind of where I'm at with things right now. Like I probably had this mindset my whole life, and I know I definitely picked it up from my parents and stuff. So my whole life just been on just trying to get to the next day. And I can't really get past that right now. So I'm kind of stuck right there, to be honest, man.
And how long have you been trying to get unstuck?
I say I found Neville maybe around August, maybe. So I just been like diving deep into his lectures and stuff like that. Hold on, let me get you off the call real quick.
Hey Elias, how's it going, man? Welcome.
Pulling up to my daughter, well, my girlfriend house, my daughter. It's my day to come see her today. So excuse me, but I still wanted to be able to do this.
Oh yeah, why don't you take care of that? You can put us on pause. Elias just joined in, and
Hold on, let me.
I
I don't know why I can't. What's up, big head? Hey. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, bro.
oh no, man, this is beautiful.
What's up?
This is absolutely wonderful.
Yeah, it's all good. I just got on here. All right. Well, let me just step outside for a little minute. I'll be right back.
So you
Evening, ain't you? Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna just stay outside for a little while. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at with life right now. Oh, I was telling you about Neville. I found Neville like maybe back in August, and I just like recently I stopped, like around August, I stopped smoking. I stopped like really riding around listening to music a lot. And I just been diving deep into like stuff that's around Neville, Reverend Ike, and like even Soul Immortal. I think I found him maybe 2 months before Neville, and he the reason that I got on tour. And then I found you on the I heard you talking a few months ago on the one time that I was on his group thing, and I heard you speaking, and it's just I felt so close to you because you just was so heavy on the Neville. You was heavy on the Neville stuff, and I was like, that's the point I am in my life. I'm kind of close to the Neville information right now, so I just was so attracted to your message.
yeah, cool. Well, thanks for the kudos. I appreciate that. Yeah, I discovered Neville in 2014. I was listening to a lecture given by Wayne Dyer, and he brought up the Tao Te Ching and Neville Goddard. And then I think 2 days or day or 2 days later, I had this crazy mystical spiritual experience on my roof, and I attributed it back to the talk that Wayne Dyer gave. And then the next day I went to Union Square in New York City and bought the Tao Te Ching, and I just started. That's basically when my journey started. It wasn't until a couple months later after that I revisited that lecture and heard him say Neville's name again, And then I fell into studying Neville amongst other philosophers and spiritual teachers. But there was something about what Neville said that has basically driven me in the last 8 years. And that is imagination creates reality. And along with all those other teachings, he would say things that would that nobody else was really saying. Well, I've come to realize that a lot of people have been saying, but he said it in such an articulate way and in such a simple way that I was able to test it and apply literally every day. And it was so easy. And then, of course, through the years, I came to find out that it's easy, but it's not, or I should say, it's simple, but it's not easy. Simple in that we can read this, we can theorize, we can write it all down, we know exactly what to do, but it's not easy to do. And the reason why it's not easy to do, and this kind of touches what you were talking about when we first got on the call, TJ, is we have these beliefs that we are less than, we're not enough, we're full of doubt, we're full of frustration, everything, this is just the way it is, right? The results in my life, the circumstances in my life, the people in my life, this is just the way they are. Then there's nothing I can do about it except for take care of myself, as most of us egotistically will say. It's like, it's just like, I just got to care for me, but nothing actually changes. Which means that they're actually not taking care of themselves. They're actually just habitually reacting to the way they normally react, even though the reactions or the actions might be different than what they did 5 years ago. It's still rooted in the same state of consciousness that created the situation in the first place. Does that make sense, TJ, Elias? Yeah. So TJ, I got you. You're feeling like you're in a weird place. You're feeling like you're in survival mode. You recognize that you picked it up from your folks and things like that. And you've been doing this work since August of this year, which is fantastic. All right, I'm going to put you on pause, TJ. I want to hear from Elias, and then what we'll do, we'll work together. Y'all will see the similarities in the two of you, I'm sure. So Elias, hey man, nice to meet you. Oh, you're on mute, bud.
Hi, Jerry. Can you hear me now?
I can, man. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, you too. So it's a little bit similar than the other person. Sorry, I can't remember your name. I met you first time in the Spiritual Souls the lecture, and you made an impression there. I'm curious to hear you mentioned that you had a mystical moment in like 2014. So if you could describe a little bit, what was it like? What happened, kind of?
It's such a, it's so funny. It's such a big part of my life. I don't really tell it too often because there's so many details and I can get so nuanced and all this stuff. But I mean, the best way to describe it was I was hanging out on the roof. It was my roommate's birthday, and they wanted to go celebrate for whatever reason on the roof. And I went up to it. It was a full moon. I went up to the roof with them, and I'm chilling, and there was a full moon. It was so beautiful, and I'm looking at it, and I'm just flooded with all this energy and emotion, and I'm like, no idea what's going on. But it's just a feeling of just love and connection with the moon, with my friends, with everything that was going on around me. And then I just had this like feeling of just connection to my mother, who she lives in another state. I love my mom. Like, I didn't have an issue or anything like that with my mom, but for whatever reason, it was like this call to my mom, looking at the moon, all this stuff. And I'm like, I haven't wanted to go home in forever. I had like, it wasn't, I wasn't longing for my family. And here's this huge longing. years later, I've come to realize that it was actually that longing for Christ. It was that longing for that my connection with Source. And so, but that night, I'm just bawling, crying, all that stuff. And I'm thinking about what I had heard a couple days ago from Wayne Dyer. And I was like, wow, this is so in line with what that guy was talking about, that I decided, and that's when I decided to go get the Tao Te Ching the next morning, first thing in the morning. And I go to Union Square, go to the Barnes and Noble, get the Tao Te Ching. When I come out of the Tao Te Ching, when I come out of the Barnes and Nobles, there's this shaman in Union Square looking directly at me, not looking around, nothing like that. I literally just crossed the street from Barnes and Nobles on into Union Square, and there's this shaman with the sitar looking right at me. And I'm like, what are you looking at, bro? And he's just like, what did he say? He says, I'm looking at the true you. And I'm like, what are you talking about? It's like, I see you. And I was like, you do? And he's like, the very fact that we're here tells me you're on your journey, or something like that. And I was like, whoa. And it's tripping me out, because I'm having this experience from the night before. I just got the Tao Te Ching, and this guy's telling me he's talking to my true self. And I'm like, I don't know you, like, but I'm drawn to him. And we ended up hanging out for about 30-45 minutes, and he's just pouring into me all this stuff that didn't make any sense to me at the time, but now it, very much does. It's the same stuff I'm teaching you guys. And we let it go back home. I'm getting back to normal, all this stuff. I'm obsessed with the new book that I have. Later that night, my roommates had a concert, and I was going to bark for them, promote their show on the streets. And we're in Lower East Side, Arlene's Grocery. And I'm skipping so much of the story, but there's some gentlemen across the street from this concert, or this show that I was promoting, and they see me and they're like, hey man. I'm like, hey, y'all should come to my friend's show. They're like, we're going to a party, at our place around the corner, but we'll get there and then we'll come back and check you out. You seem like a cool guy. I was like, great, no big deal. I walk off, I keep barking. I'm going to other spots trying to get people to come to the concert show, not a concert show. And I come back, and these guys are out there, and they're saying, whoa, where you been? I was like, oh, I'm doing I'm helping my friends out, bring people to the show. They're like, man, we've been waiting here for an hour for you. We want you to come with us to this party. So I was like, okay, cool. Why not? My friend's show is not starting for a while. Let me just pop in. Let me say what's up. I get to this party, and it's all these spiritually in line people talking about these wonderful things that my friends don't talk about. My friends are all actors and comedians and people who are in the industry and stuff like that. So they don't talk about the way these guys were talking. I was like, this is amazing. I didn't know there were people like this, all this stuff. And as I'm talking to them, another download happens. And this time I'm in front of just this massive people. They're all like looking at me, and I'm like, how am I supposed to help y'all? Anyway, I don't really like talking about the story, but I had this moment of just like, I'm here to do a job. I'm here to teach people. And then I came to, and I'm crying, and this guy's just like helping me walk through what was going on. He told me that everything that he had gone through and all this stuff. And then he goes, and as he's telling me all this, he's like, man, you need to meet a friend of mine. And the person he tells me to meet is the exact same person that I met that afternoon. And I was like, I was done. And basically my whole trajectory has gone from that day in 2014. I wish I remember exactly what day that was, but pretty much that 24-hour period was a lot of synchronicities and things like that I couldn't ignore. And I've basically been on this journey ever since. So I hope that answers your question, Elias.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Because I think I have like a little bit similarities for that. Well, not like the story, but like let's see, like the past 2 years, and especially like now this fall has been like weird, like different than than like other parts of my life. Like I would, I think I would, the best word to describe would be like kind of like awakening. Like I felt like I have dreamed kind of like my life during this point. And for example, I ended up in a quite similar place than my father, which I tried to avoid, and I did everything kind of like opposite than him, but I still ended up kind of like at least on the same feelings and everything. And I was like, how did I end up here? I thought I was going in the opposite direction, but it didn't happen. So that's,
It's interesting how that happens, huh?
yeah, it is.
Yeah, we're just, you know, if that's the case, it's likely it's the same thing that happened with your granddad and your great granddad and so on and so forth, until somebody in that line decides that no, not doing this anymore. But if you don't know, you're just going to keep repeating it, and that's fine. That's totally normal, and that's part of what I do as a teacher. Is like I try to get folks to understand that as you're going on your spiritual journey, you're going to start recognizing that all these patterns that are showing up are actually there to show you what your pattern is, like how to operate. If you look back on your patterns, you'll be like, wait a minute, if these things keep showing up, that means I'm on this trajectory, and all I have to do is make different choices. So like if I see that my dad was this, that, and the other, and I see that I'm also starting to do this, all I have to do would be like, oh, then I'll make a new choice. Every single, like you stop getting in autopilot. You start actively choosing to be the pilot, be the operant power, be the one who's choosing. So, for example, I like to use arguments with spouses as the perfect example of this. Have you ever noticed that you get in a fight with someone before you actually get in a fight with them?
Yeah.
Right? That you just know they're going to say something, or you just know they're going to do something, or you just know it, right? And then because you know it, you then have that fight with them. You have that argument. You always do this. You always doing that, blah, blah, blah. And then when that person shows up, even though you might not say anything, they say the most innocent thing. And next thing you know, boom, the pattern happens. And you're like, oh, you always, and then you storm off and you're like, you always do this. I'm laughing because it's just so true. That the only reason why that is occurring, again, is because of your state of consciousness. You have a state of consciousness that says, I'm going to fight this person. You might not consciously be saying it to yourself, but you have the pattern playing out within your heart. So all you have to do, and this goes for any example, what you have to do is you recognize the pattern. And when you recognize the pattern, you stop it. Oh, if it is that I have a story that says I'm always going to, or this person always gets in a fight with me, change the story and change the pattern. Say, oh, this person's always beneficial to me, or I always have something valuable to provide for this person, or, you know, we easily get over disagreements, or whatever it is. And you start telling yourself that story, watch what happens. Watch what happens with your relationship with that person that you're typically getting in a fight with, if you change the story. Now, if you catch yourself in a pattern, in the middle of a pattern, you're like, whoa, this is happening again. And you can actually catch yourself, stop yourself, and move your attention away from what's happening. Watch what occurs within your body, and watch what happens with the relationship that you're having with that person. It shifts automatically. You don't actually even need to say or do anything if you can catch it and stop it. I'm going to leave that there. I know I just said a lot, and I'm like, man, did that actually land?
Yeah, it did.
Okay,
Yeah, I understood. Yeah, I understood.
cool. Now, these little hacks, right? It's all about the meaning that we're making. Something happens, we're in a triggered state, and now we're running on autopilot. So whenever we're in doubt, we're in worry, we're in frustration, we're lashing out, all going to our addictions, whatever it is, all those actions, all those reactions are coming from the meaning that we're making. Perfect story. Let's say there's a guy and his friends, they're hanging out at the bar. They're chilling, having some drinks, laughing, all this stuff. And you notice that there's a group of girls over there. Beautiful girls, really cute girls. And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna shoot my shot. And you get up, you tell your boys, yo, I'm gonna say what's up. You get up and you walk over to those girls, and the girls start laughing. Then all of a sudden within you, you're like, you just stop everything and you go back to your friends, kind of defeated. Most people would say that the person turned around because the girls giggled. But really, it had nothing to do with the girls giggling. It had everything to do with that man's state of consciousness. That man's state of consciousness was, could be anything, could be a litany of anything. But his state of consciousness had him react in a certain way that didn't actually help him achieve the goal that he had, which was to hit on those girls. He let his outer circumstances determine what was going on within him. So the girls giggled, and then he changed his consciousness, which caused him to go back to his friends. Now, if he would have seen those girls giggle and just let them giggle, and he would have stayed in the same state of consciousness that got him up to move towards them, he could have ignored them laughing. He could have been like, what's the joke about? He could have just started thinking, oh, they're giggling because of me. Like, oh, they're digging on like the fact that I'm walking up to them. He could have made any meaning from those girls giggling. But what he did was he gave it his habitual meaning, which is girls don't like me, or girls disrespect me, or girls laugh at me, or whatever. And it runs in his head. Now he's in a state of consciousness and he moves on. So for you guys, why I share this with you is I want y'all to recognize whenever it is that you're going through your day and you find yourself triggered out of the state of consciousness that you want to be in, ask yourself, what meaning am I adding to this situation? What meaning am I adding to this situation? And then the second question I would ask is, what meaning would I like to give this situation? This is a little different than what Neville teaches, I know, but this is all based on what my work with my mentor when I was studying Neville. I still am studying Neville. So
what meaning I'm adding to the situation, and what meaning I would like to have? Was it? Yes.
So, and you can even do this without even getting to those situations. So you can look at your habitual reactions to something. So let's say like business, you need to make sales calls, a certain amount of sales calls or something like that. And you make three sales calls, and then you notice that you're distracting yourself by looking at your Instagram or your YouTube or something like that, and then eventually you go back to your thing. Well, there's a reason why something triggered you out of continuing doing your sales calls to where you went into a habitual addiction. Right, you went into autopilot. So you probably got frustrated on the call, or you got bored, or you felt like you needed to be rewarded because you did 3 calls, yay. Right? But really you're just back in autopilot. Whereas if you can catch yourself in autopilot and be like, whoa, I'm procrastinating. Boom. Just what meaning am I adding? Oh, I don't procrastinate. I'm not a procrastinator. So what meaning am I adding? Oh, it was just it was just a blip, back to it. And you jump right into it, as opposed to what most people will do is like, they'll distract themselves with the procrastination technique, and then they'll beat themselves up about doing the procrastination. And then they'll, after beating themselves up, they'll go to the kitchen, go get some chips, which is more procrastination. Then they'll come back to work, but then they're sitting there, but they're all drained, not because of the eating of the chips, not because of the procrastination, not because of any of that. It's because of the meaning doing all that stuff they're giving. So if you can give yourself an empowering meaning, you will have an empowering workflow. You will have an empowering conversation with that woman. You will have a peaceful conversation with your father. You name it. So again, I'm going to lay that one out there.
Yeah.
What questions might y'all have to that?
Well, I'm not sure if this is a question, but like, it is quite scary to think how much you live on autopilot and how much your life is repeating patterns. But at the same time, I think it is kind of hopeful, because then if you can change them, then your life can kind of go autopilotly on the direction you would like to go. Yeah,
100%. Well, so yeah, exactly. So you can set up. Well, so that's the thing. TJ was actually mentioning, is like, I recognize that it was a pattern he picked up from his parents, right? So when he was 7, he made a decision, he made meaning about who he is, and now he's on a trajectory.
I need to take a phone call. I will
please
come back.
Please.
Yeah.
So TJ,
I'm still with you.
At 7 years old, something happened, right? You entered a triggered state, and you made a decision about who you are. And now you're playing that track until you actually take the reader off the record player, change the record, and put a new one down. You're going to keep playing that track. So when you start working on the meaning you're making in your day-to-day, that fight, change the meaning, that workflow, change the meaning, all that stuff, and you do that more and more, you start to take on that new state of consciousness, and it becomes, quote unquote, automatic. You'll start to play that track out.
Yeah, because I definitely got a problem with, like you say, like even when trying to make calls or something, you go to Instagram and now you're just doing anything to kind of occupy your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I go through that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So when you what are you imagining when you go into your sales calls? What are you imagining?
Well, I use an even better example. Like right now, I'm trying to transition because I do videography full time.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to transition to working with real estate clients now. And yes, like 2 days ago, I went to a house, and they let me shoot the house for free or whatever. And I was supposed to edit it and just post it so I can just start posting content on my social media to be able to attract those kind of clients. But when I got home, well, when I was shooting, I started telling myself in the home, like, what you doing? Like, you not even, like, this not good. Like, you should have planned more. You don't know how to do this. And by the time I got home, I sat down to edit the video. And because it wasn't looking like what I'd seen on Instagram, I basically just got probably a 15-second edit right now that I just completely quit on because it don't look like everybody else stuff. And I like the meaning. I was like, it's not gonna do nothing. Like, what this one post gonna do for my Instagram? So I just stopped.
And there it is. You see, you're a master manifester. You get that?
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm seeing it now.
Yeah. Now that's the fun. Wait a minute. So when I'm doing this thing, I'm saying this, and this, and this to me. And then when I get in, I know I can do it. So I sit down and fuck it.
Yeah.
And then you'll be asking, "Well, why can't I get this done?" But you don't realize that it's because of what you're telling yourself. Right? So Neville would bring up mental diets. All right. And he would say, observe your thoughts. He would say, observe your thoughts in a 24-hour period, and you'd be shocked at how at what it is that you're saying to yourself about yourself. And the best way to get out of this is start assuming that you start assuming that people observe your content and be like, man, how can I make mine a little bit more like TJ's? Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? How would you feel if you saw people observing your takes? Like you were on Instagram, like, man, that's my edit. How would you feel?
I feel a lot better. I feel more. I feel more full inside. Like, you know, like I'm not chasing nothing.
And then if you were to sit down with in your editing bay, and you had that, how would you feel about sitting down to edit?
I wouldn't have no problem with completing it because I feel like, you know, it's a different purpose behind it.
Mm-hmm. And when you're editing your video, can you imagine what it would be like to submit your video and your client is just like, oh my God, this is amazing?
I haven't been able to, but now seeing, it's like, yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? If you can set yourself up to live in the end in every situation, right? We're already doing it. Again, back to the analogy of the fight. You're already living in the end when you say, oh, I'm just going to get in a fight with this person again, or this person's always fighting. That's living in the end. But if you're just the same, it's the same energy. The same energy it takes to do that is the same energy it takes to go, oh, I'm going to have a lovely time with this person. Even if this person's not you don't normally have a lovely time. If you just practice, I'm going to have a lovely time with this person. And the next time you have an interaction with them, they're bitchy. Doesn't matter. Meaning, right? The next time I'm going to have a wonderful time with this person. And they show up and they're not like that. Do it again, do it again, do it again. Even if they don't change, guess who does change? You do. Same with the business. Every time you make your edits and you know, it's like, man, this is going to be the bombest edit ever. They're going to love this. They're going to love this. And then you turn in and it's like, hey, can you make some edits or whatever? Your normal self is like, oh, man, I never do this. No, your new self is like, oh, man, they love working with me. That's why they're always coming back, because they know I can do it. They know I can make these edits, or else they wouldn't keep asking. Because if they didn't want to work with me, they would ghost me. But the very fact that they keep coming back means that, man, yeah, they love working with me. They love chopping it up. They love tweaking this and that. Yeah, who else would they come to for that? Who else would they come to for that? It's TJ. Man, the type of energy you would put into your videography and your editing and the time you put into these things would be different, no?
Yeah, you're right.
Yep. Think about how excited you get when you go to see your daughter. Right? You know you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
And when you're with your daughter, is it always a good time?
Yeah.
There are some times where you're just like, okay, girl, you need to calm down.
Yeah, right.
But your state of consciousness is, I'm a loving father. I love spending time with my daughter, despite the fact that, quote unquote, not so nice things happen all the time, right? I speak from experience because I have a 5-year-old son who's working on being 20. And yeah, man, there's some heartache sometimes. Sometimes I have to punish him. Sometimes I don't want to be around him and all that stuff. But when I really check myself, I'm like, no, I love that dude, man. Most of my like, it's always good. I know I'm good. It's when he's not in a good mood, that's when I get upset, because I'm like, bro, I thought we were good. And then we joke and all that stuff, and he's lifted up or whatever. If I stay in that state. So is that information landing with you, TJ?
Oh yeah, that make a lot of sense.
Cool. And when we close out, we'll do a feel it real session, so you'll know how to actually step into that. Okay.
Okay.
Into those states. Okay, cool. Let's see what's going on with Cindy. Cindy says that she can't talk right now. She can only listen. She's probably at work right now. All right. So Cindy and I have been working together. I mean, I guess at least March of 21. Because that's when I started up my work on Clubhouse. So so at least then, so I for the most part know what's going on with Cindy. One message that I have for Cindy is, so Cindy has a number of things going on. So one is she wants a career in IT. Not exactly sure what she wants to do in IT, but I know she wants a career in IT. And another one is she is crippled with doubt and worrying about what other people think about her. You worry about what other people think about you. So this kind of touches on what we were talking about before Cindy joined us, and that's the meaning that we're making. So Cindy messaged me a couple of days ago. It's like, well, should I reach out to this person? Should I say this? Should I do this? Should I do that? And my answer to her was, I can't answer that question for you. And the reason why I can't answer that question for her is only she knows what she is thinking and what she has done, will do, and will continue to do. All I can do is point you back to you. Because if I gave you advice on how to communicate with people that you're having trouble with, I'm only giving you what God is telling me to do. But really, Cindy, your reactions to the people who you're having issues with are coming from you. If you start recognizing that you are the operant power and that there's no circumstance, there's no person, there's no thing that is bigger than you, you'll make completely different choices. Oh, cybersecurity, not IT, sorry. So again, said in another way, if you recognize that you are bigger than any circumstance, you will make different choices. So bringing it to the mind. I'm trying to remember the specific thing that you messaged me last week. And if I remember correctly, it was that you were at work and someone came in, you gave them an item. Turns out that you weren't supposed to give them that item. And then it caused a whole uproar or storm drama between other parties and this, any other. I do not worry about how people are going to react. People are going to react the way they're going to react. What I worry about is who am I and what am I to do? If I'm acting out of, oh, I need to fix the situation, or I need to appease somebody, or I need to make somebody else feel better, and I'm not coming from a place of security, I'm not coming from a place of confidence, I'm just going to ruin the issue even more. I'm basically going to add water to the fire, to an oil fire, a grease fire. Adding water to a grease fire is not a good thing. All right. So from my personal experience, I'll tell you this. I just manifested a moped a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago. I'm not sure. Time's flying. And the story is interesting because I had for months had been wanting this a moped. And then one of my neighbors ended up buying a moped. And when he bought the moped, he would let me ride it. And I remember riding it and I'd be like, no, but I want my moped. I don't want to be riding somebody else's moped. Not that I mind, I'm very grateful, but I want my moped. Well, and I made the claim within myself and let it go. Well, a couple weeks later or something like that, the gentleman's girlfriend gets in a accident with the moped, and the moped busts up and all this stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, interesting. All right, well, whatever. A couple weeks after that, this gentleman and his girlfriend and the farm manager, they get in this most random fight I've ever experienced in my life. They're just going at it, drama. And I don't like drama. I don't really deal with it. And I'm just chilling there, like watching, observing it happen, and observing myself and noticing how I wanted to install myself in their drama that I had nothing to do with. And I'm bringing this specifically up to you, Cindy. I noticed how I automatically wanted to install myself in their drama to fix whatever was going on with them. I stopped myself, and I actually started imagining that everybody is being mutually benefited by whatever is occurring right now. I don't need to lift a finger. The fight calmed down. Everybody went into their respective corners, all that stuff. 2 days later, they get in another fight, another argument, more drama. And I was like, what is going on? Like, these people are peaceful people. They're not trying to get in fights and stuff like that. And I didn't understand what was going on. And again, imagine lovingly for them. And I didn't install myself in the fight. Well, the woman, she comes over to my place and she's like, I can't believe this is happening, this, any other. And I look at her and I'm like, I can't believe that you're bringing this to me. I said that to her straight to her face. I was like, I don't understand why you're bringing this to me. I've already given you my opinion on how to deal with fights and this and the other. Why would you bring this to me? She's like, you're right, Jerry, you're right. I was like, all right, cool. Well, a couple hours later, I find out, or the next day, I find out they left. They left. 2:30 in the morning, beelined it. They left the island of Hawaii and went back to the mainland like that. They leave that moped for me. They message me and they say, Jerry, man, enjoy the moped. We're out of here. Essentially, I'm skipping so much of this story. But I bring this up because this moped that I wanted months ago is now in my lap. And I wonder, had I installed myself in those fights, had I taken myself out of my wish fulfilled, which is peaceful, loving friend, all that type of stuff, I wonder if I would have gotten that moped. Because if I would have installed myself into those fights, there's no telling how much drama that would have caused in my life. And there's definitely no way they would have given me that moped. Why? Because I would have probably been an enemy of theirs. Right? So I bring this up to you, Cindy, because I'm specifically bringing this up for Cindy because I understand that drama occurred because of a situation that you may or may not have caused. But just because of drama is happening doesn't mean you need to add meaning to it in the sense that I need to fix this or I caused this or blah, blah, blah. No. You live in the end. I'm at peace. This is going to resolve itself. I don't need to do anything. If I feel compelled to do something, I do it. You operate from a space of love, of abundance, of giving, as opposed to how can I fix, how can I? You don't need to know how. You just need to be who it is that you want to be. If you want to see peace, be peaceful. If you want to see love, be loving. If you don't know what to do nothing. Seriously, I'm laughing at that, but it's true. If you don't know what to do, don't do anything. The biggest problem a lot of people have is when they don't know what to do, they go do something, which only comes from a state of lack, which only produces more lack. So don't do anything. If you're confused, seek clarity. Be clear. So I'm confused. I'm confused. Nope. Ah, thank God I got so much clarity. Even if you don't right now have the clarity, start telling yourself you have the clarity. I know exactly what to do. Oh, I realized I didn't need to do anything or whatever it is. But you always go to the end. Cindy, you want to type if you have any questions? Did I touch on what you were talking about with me earlier? We might stay a little longer as well, you guys, because Tiffany just joined us. Tiffany Monroe. Do I know Tiffany Monroe? There's a singer, I swear to God, her name is Tiffany Monroe from Chicago, and I'm wondering if this is her, although y'all's name isn't spelled the same. Cindy, if you can type, letting me know if you're, if what I said landed with you. Yes, yes, I did. Cool. Tiffany, hi. If you want to hop on the mic, that's great.
Hi, Jerry. Hi, can you hear me?
I can.
Sorry, I came on late. I apologize.
No, you're fine.
But I'm very happy to be here. And I just got the message about doing nothing. I wish I would have heard this 2 months ago, but I'm grateful to hear it now. I know what to do in the future with drama.
Yeah. Well, what's on your mind? Tiffany, what's your name on? I'm assuming you found me through Instagram.
Yes, I'm Sydney Pink Street on Instagram.
Oh, got it. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And I apologize because the time difference, I was on at 7 o'clock this morning and I was way too early. I had messaged you about dreams about, or your desires being too big and kind of having doubts about those sometimes when they come up, or can you handle it, or is what you're asking for financially like too much? So I think I just kind of been a little doubtful sometimes, trying to remain to live in the end, and remaining with the wish fulfilled. I think that's kind of been my struggle sometimes.
So when it comes to we'll bring up finances. The money talk is always interesting to me because I've come to find out that it's never about the money. I wish it was about the money because that would make life way easier. It's like, oh yeah, money would make me so much happier. Like I said this to my wife last week. I was just like, I said to her, it's like, man, there were just so many times, and I just think that if I had $1 million, we would never fight again. I said that to her, and I laughed because it was like, I know it's not true. It just isn't true, right? But a lot of times, though, a lot of people get so bogged down with the money talk that they can't think straight to the point to where it's just like, it's almost like I've been in poverty for so long, it's all I know, and all I want to experience is anything but this poverty. So what I'm going to do is start imagining that I have the big mansion, all the money, all this stuff, which, by the way, I'm never going to tell anybody not to imagine that they have all that stuff. But a lot of times I ask, why? This is probably the only reason why I ever ask why. Most of the time I just help them get their goal. But the money thing, the reason why I ask why is there's actually something underlying the money. There's actually something you want that the money will, you think the money will provide. So what is that thing, Tiffany? What do you think this money is going to provide you?
To be honestly speaking, both my parents are at an age where, well, my mom's in a nursing home and my dad physically struggling with his disability. And I'm grateful for the money that I do have. I'll say that. So I don't want it to seem like I'm just, oh, it's the end all be all for me. I'm grateful for where I am and things like that. But I would love to be able to be in a position financially where I have enough to put them in their own home and take care of them. in their golden years now, that they can enjoy some more better days. I'm sorry, that's my baby, ahead than they have had in the past of just struggling with, their health and losing their home 2 years ago. I really just want to be able to help my family, to be honest with you. Other than being a caregiver to my mom when I did, before she got into the nursing home, and, going by and checking on my father and things like that. But I just want to be able to help them and have access to more resources to be able to do that. I mean, honestly, and my kids really.
All right, there it is. All right. So you have a belief. I'm just catching you. So you have a belief that if you have money, you will have enough, excuse me, to be able to provide for your family. You will have the resources in order to put them in the home. You will have the resources in order to get your kids toys, diapers, that type of stuff. I'm gonna say this, and you have to hear me on this. You don't need money to do that. You don't need money to do that. When I say that, Tiffany, what goes through your mind? How do you feel?
I receive it, because I feel like, regardless I had a lot or not a lot, I'm still blessed. I have them in my life. I can see them. I can talk to them every day. So I don't know. It doesn't make me upset or anything. It just makes me realize that I'm full and I'm grateful regardless. If I have more than enough, I'll have what I have now.
Perfect. Now I'm gonna bring it back again. When you see your parents taken care of, what does that look like?
When I see them taken care of, making sure that they have caregivers that are there, that are, licensed professionals that can take care of them. Because it was a struggle for me to be in that position to kind of to take care of my mom, because I just didn't have the skills to be able to do it. And it weighed me down. It was very stressful, but yeah,
So
sorry to get in all that, but yeah.
No, you're good. You're fine. I want to. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get you to the feeling. So when you see your parent, I know you had struggles, but when you see your folks, where do you see them? Would you rather see them in a home, or would you rather see them with you? Not talking about your skills. What would you rather have?
I would rather, and when I say a home, I mean having their own home where I can come visit. My kids can, come and have a room to stay with their Nana and Papa. I would rather see that than a mom in a nursing home.
Well, boom, that.
Yeah.
What would you rather have? Exactly. So say it again. What would you rather have?
I would rather see them in their own home than my mom still in the nursing home that she's in right now.
And I'm sure you would have like a visiting nurse or somebody a caregiver to be with them.
Someone to come out with them. Absolutely.
Yeah, and they're not in some system, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And then, of course, you have a freedom to go visit them. And what is it like to visit your folks?
Well, the nursing home.
No, not the nursing home.
Just the freedom to go through. Oh, just to go spend time with them, just to be there, to, spend the night if I, can, have a room for the kids to come. Holidays, we can get together for the holidays. There's no restrictions for, COVID guidelines because, they might be shut down or something, but I have accessibility to get to them easily,
And what does that feel like?
It will feel great. It will feel loving. I just feel good. I would just feel happy.
Okay. All right. You guys all listening in right now. Here we go. This is a great one. So Tiffany currently is in a state where she believes that she's struggling. She doesn't know how to provide the resources needed to care for her family. right? She's stressed, the money, she believes she needs money in order to survive. TJ feels he needs money so he can get out of survival mode, right? Um, what I'm going to talk about right now is, notice how I asked Tiffany what it is she would rather have and how she wanted to jump back to her struggles or what she believes she can have. That tells me as a coach what state she's in. But when I brought it back to be like, no, what do you actually want? What do you really want? You could hear it in her voice when she started describing her parents being in a nice home, and like there's a visiting nurse, and you know they're not worried about COVID restriction, and she has a freedom to go visit. If you heard it in her voice, there's an elevated energy to her voice, whereas when she was talking about the struggles, there was a lower energy. That's how subtle states of consciousness are. So when Tiffany was describing the wish fulfilled, she was in the wish fulfilled. Now the question is, how does Tiffany stay in that state? The way she was talking about that, is the state. So when she goes, like, it's like when TJ was talking about driving in his car, he's running a story in his head that makes him not want to edit. But when he described what it would be like to edit for, you know, people who want to work with them, and people are like observing his work and copying his techniques, he had an elevated way of describing himself. That's the state. But we get into this place to where when we come into this work with Neville and everything like that, where it's like, oh, I need to think these things and blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, it's actually already there. Everything needed is already in the state. The thing that makes it come out here to the external world is dwelling in the state. So like Tiffany entered the state in order for her to describe it to me. And if she can actually continue to dwell in it, continue to feel it, imagine it, what would it be like to drive up to that house? What would it be like to see your parents like being cared for? What would it be like to just be able to bring them like a nice, you know, pastry that you got at a restaurant, as opposed to constantly worrying about how you're going to pay the next medical bill? You're bringing in delicious crepes or delicious, you know, croissants or something like that. Why do I go there? Why do I bring up these random things like pastries? Because it implies that you have freedom. It implies that you have delectability in your life. It implies that you have gifts to give. And what I'm doing is, okay, I'm in that state. And I can see it. I can see myself driving up to the house and seeing that that's my parents and all this stuff. And then other thoughts come to it. And other thoughts come with it. Oh, what would I eat? What would I be giving? What would I be receiving? All these things start to show up, as opposed to what normally happens when people come into this work. What will how am I going to get to that state? Oh, I'm going to make X amount of sales calls, or I'm going to make sure that I have this job, or I have this money, and I'm going to make sure that, no. Go to the end and dwell therein. And then what will happen if you can continue to dwell in, you'll come up with the ideas will automatically come to you that you can actually choose or not choose to take action on. You know what? Let me hit up this person. Maybe you won't. You never know. Tiffany, another thing that's coming to my mind right now is a story from Lester Levinson. Lester Levinson is the originator of the Sedona method. Not quite certain when he passed away, but there was this. Actually, I'm going to skip that story. I'm going to tell another story. So there's a church that I'm a part of that teaches a lot of these principles, and they were just sharing a testimonial of how this gentleman and his wife lost a bunch of millions of dollars, and from one of their business partners, and had basically been broke for 2 years, and then came into this work and started actively imagining their wish fulfilled. And while they were doing it, they were constantly thinking about how they were going to make the money and how many years it was going to take them to get that money back so they can get this place. They wanted this big house that could house all their children and their grandchildren on a ranch in Minnesota. Minnesota? It doesn't matter. And then started doing this work and really started imagining that they were already there, that everything has been taken care of. Oh my God, it feels so good and all this stuff. And they really dwelled in that state. Well, guess what? They got that house. Guess what? They didn't pay for that house. Someone actually gifted them that house. They didn't have to pay for it. Now, I'm now living in probably the biggest house that I've ever lived in. 4-bedroom, 2-bath. I live on 23 acres. It's the cheapest rent I've ever paid in any house that I've ever lived in. I've lived in Texas, New York City, Chicago. I live in Hawaii, which is apparently one of the most expensive states to live in. And I mean, my house, it's as far as I'm concerned, it's way more than I want to live in, but this is my wife and kid want a bigger place. So that's why we live here. But we pay the cheapest rent we've ever paid. When we were first moving out here, which is a manifestation in and of itself, when we were first moving out here, everybody was like, how are y'all going to afford it? How are y'all going to live there? Isn't it so expensive? Cost of living so high. And I said, I didn't care. I didn't let the price tag prevent me from doing that which I know within myself I'm to do. And this is my invitation to you guys. Stop letting money be the excuse for you not imagining what it is that you want. Because likely the thing that you want is what's going to give you the money. So if it is that you want your family to be in a lovely home and taken care of by professionals that don't treat them by numbers, ask yourself, how would it feel if that were true?
That's awesome.
Does that make sense, Tiffany?
Oh my God, I just got goosebumps. I'm teary-eyed. It just, I don't even have the words. I don't have words. I just thank you for that.
My pleasure, Tiffany. How does it feel to know that you already are that person? And be like, just that question alone is like, oh my God, it would feel so good. Good, stay there.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it would feel so good. All right, so we're gonna do a feel it real session to close us out, and this is really good. My goal here would be that you're able to walk away knowing what it feels like to be this person. Tiffany already feels it, I can hear it. But we'll do it anyways. So write down what it is you want, what it is that you think you want. Thriving business, specific person, specific job, lifestyle, whatever it is. And money. If it's money, let it be money. I'm fine with that too. I just when it comes to money, I often ask, like, well, why do you want the money? Because if I talk to my like really rich friends, like my rich clients, it ain't the money. Trust me, it ain't. I say that as somebody who's still growing his business and everything like that. And it's like, well, no, I mean, I like money. Don't get it twisted. All right. So once you've written it down, we'll walk into this exercise. Okay. So what I want you to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you from the first version of yourself, the one that wants something, into the version of yourself that is fulfilled. And this is something that you can practice every day. In fact, I highly recommend you practice every day. But this is just a nice exercise to get you into that state and learn how to know that you're in the state. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have y'all close your eyes. I'm going to do a little guided meditation, if you want to call it that. Just breathe normally. Answer the questions within yourself. Any questions that I ask, answer them within yourself. Allow yourself to feel whatever it is that is coming up for you, good, bad, or indifferent. Allow yourself to accept it and feel it. And just go on the adventure. Let your imagination do the work for you. Try not to think too much about it. Allow your imagination to do the work for you. All right. And I'm gonna do it too as I guide y'all. So just close your eyes and just don't even relax. Just close your eyes and just observe yourself. Just observe the thoughts. Observe your breath. Observe the sensations in your body. Observe the saliva in your mouth. And just notice the thoughts of worry and frustration that are so habitual, so common for you. Notice the doubt. Notice the worry. Notice the way your friends or your family observe you, or how you believe they observe you. Notice how you possibly haven't lived up to what you know is possible for you. And allow it to be there. And as you allow it to be there, really, like, allow your old version of yourself, allow it to be there. And notice how you're breathing. Is it shallow? Is it bated? And just notice them. Notice the thoughts. Notice the meaning. Notice the thoughts that are like, how am I going to get it? What do I need to do to get it? All those thoughts getting in your way. And just breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Just breathe. No big deal. And I want you to notice in your mind's eye a door in the corner with a sliver of light underneath the doorway. And you just breathe. And the thoughts are still running through your head. No big deal. Let them be there. They're fine. But you're walking towards that door. And as you as you approach that door, you grab that doorknob and you slowly open it. And you notice that there's this beautiful, luminous, white hallway that goes on for infinity. You look to the left, infinity. You look to the right, infinity. It's just this white hallway. And you step into this hallway and you slam the door behind you. And that room you just exited, those thoughts and those worries are still in that room. You can still hear them. They're a little muffled, but they're still very present. And you just breathe. I can't do this. Manifesting is bullshit. I'm such a failure. I can't edit. I'm never going to be able to take care of my family. I'm not going to get that job. I'm alone here. And you just breathe. And you notice those thoughts are just muffled. You take a deep breath. And you start walking down this hallway. You hear the pitter patter of your feet and the echo off the walls. Clip, clip, clip. And you just breathe. And some doors start showing up in this hallway on both sides of the hallway. And they go all the way down. And you walk calmly. And you're feeling called towards one of these doors. And as you get closer to this door, there's this neon sign with your name on it that says, "Come here." And you breathe. And there's a smile on your face. And you reach for that doorknob of this new door. And you open it, and there's a dark room on the other side of this door. Pitch black room. And you walk in and you close the door behind you. And you breathe. You notice when you're in this room, your shoulders are relaxed. Your lungs are full. Strangely enough, your confidence is so high. There's a feeling of perfection, like, man, I can do whatever I set my mind to. Unforced bliss. And all of a sudden in this room, items start to show up. What are they? Is it a friend? Is it your work tools? What type of conversation are you having now that you are this person? What are your clients saying to you? What is your employer saying to you? What is your spouse? What does your spouse look like? What do your kids look like? How does it feel to know I remember when I used to worry. I remember when life seemed so inconvenient. Just breathe. Man, I know where my true security comes from. Man, I know where the source of my income comes from. I love being the foundation of the next generation of my family. And you breathe. It's been years since you achieved your wish fulfilled. How does your heart feel? How did you get here? Who's happy to be with you? And when you feel like you're in your state of the wish fulfilled, I want you to come back. Tap your microphone if your camera is off. Wow. The state that you most often return to is your dwelling place. The state that you most often return to is your dwelling place. We go through millions of states throughout the day. Just like you're living in your home, you might go to the office, you might go to the restaurant, you might go to your church or your friend's house. You're going to go to all sorts of other places, but you always come home. What my invitation to you guys is, the state that we just experienced just now, the state that I hope that you're still in right now as you're hearing my voice. My invitation to you is to return to this 2 to 3 times a day. You don't even need to do the exercise. You already know what it feels like to be this person. Now all you need to do is dwell in this state. It doesn't matter what happened today. It doesn't matter what's happening tomorrow. What matters is, can you come back to this state and make this your home? Because in my father's house are many mansions. These mansions are the states. So if we can come back to this state often enough and operate from this state, you're going to see those shifts you're looking for. You don't have to force the state, do you, TJ? Exactly. I know. All right. I don't want to lecture anymore. I really want to leave you guys in the state. And I think that this might be a good ending point. The one thing but before I do go, I do want to let you guys know that I do have classes on my Instagram reel. I have a course on revision, a class on revision. I also have a class called Transformation Within, where I talk about imposter syndrome and how imposter syndrome affects how we move and how we manifest, and ways to overcome it. I also offer one-on-one coaching, of course. And then there's also plenty of other things to have access to. So I know some of y'all already, graciously paid paid to be here today, and I'm so grateful for that. But if you do want to dive deeper with me and see what else I have to offer, just know that those options are available. And also, if you don't want to pay, that's fine too. Know that I do first Thursdays every first Thursday of every month. So the next time I'm going to do this will be next month. I think it's going to be January 3rd. I'm not sure. But I want to leave you guys there with all that information. Also, something that'd be super helpful to me and helpful to anybody else would be if you enjoyed this talk, this conversation, this coaching session, please do me a favor and just write 3-4 sentences about what you got out of this, and if you think that something like this would be beneficial for other people, also let me know that, so that way I can share it on my stories and whatnot. You feeling good, TJ?
Yeah, I appreciate it, bro.
Good, man. Good. How are you doing, Elias?
I'm also doing good. Like I think I managed to be on the stage, but it was a little struggle to kind of like to hold it there. But I felt it, and I think I know what you mean by it. It was like a calm sense, like peace.
Yeah. It typically brings up a feeling of relief or calm when you can actually allow that to actually show itself, because it's actually within you. So good on you. Keep practicing, Elias. Keep practicing. I know it's hard when you're hearing somebody else do it for you. But yeah. Cindy says she's feeling peaceful, calm, and secure. Tiffany, how are you feeling?
I've gotten more out of this 30 minutes than I've gotten from church growing up and therapy on my own. So I feel renewed. I'm really grateful for this. I'm glad that I got on today.
I'm glad to have you on. Yeah, of course. My pleasure. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave you to it. I'm going to get out to the farm. I got some farm work to do today. Baby was due last week. Baby's taking its sweet time. So, I'm hoping that baby will come today. I don't know. We'll see. But y'all stay blessed, okay?
You too.
Did you want us to
Thanks for
write
this.
did you want us to write it up in the comments of this, or what did you want us to
No,
write?
send me on the DM on your.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, send me in the
Yeah.
DM. It's a lot easier that way.
All right, cool.
Also, and no, I do this every first Thursday. So if you liked it and can't afford coaching, don't be afraid to hop on next month. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, so much. Bless.
My pleasure.